We have breaking news. The Supreme Court has just ruled a family can sue the FBI for damages after their house was wrongly raided. Trina Martin says in 2017, agents in Atlanta pointed guns at her and her then boyfriend while her 7-year-old son was watching. But their arrest warrant was actually for a neighbor accused of gang activity. Let's bring in senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer and ABC News legal contributor Kim Wehle now. Devin, this was a unanimous decision by the court. What sticks out to you from the ruling?
Well, this has much broader application, Diane, than just this one family who did suffer quite a traumatic experience. By my reporting, hundreds of these cases happen every year. The police showing up at the wrong address or receiving bad intelligence, storming in, damaging a house, traumatizing a family, and then having no responsibility for their actions. That's because the government enjoys broad immunity under federal law. You can't sue the government when they make a mistake. But what the Supreme Court did with this unanimous decision is they opened the door now, at least in this specific type of instance, when police are wrong, according to the Supreme Court, committing an assault, battery, false imprisonment, false arrest, or abuse of process, that families can get in the courthouse door to bring a damages claim for what they suffered and their property damage. And this family will do just that. The Supreme Court did not decide their claims today and said it's still possible they may not succeed in the end, but in this unanimous decision by Justice Neil Gorsuch, the case can go forward.
Kim, what kind of precedent does this set?
Yeah, well, as Devin indicates, this is something that actually comes from common law England, the idea that the king is sovereign and the government has to waive that immunity, the sovereign immunity, which the United States Congress did in a statute called the Federal Tort Claims Act. And there's just a debate here about how far that waiver is. The government has argued that it's pretty broad, and that the immunity is very broad. And as Devin indicated, the Supreme Court, this unanimously, including the conservative justices, sided with the plaintiffs against the government. So I think this is a nod for, frankly, the little guy in an environment where we're seeing the expansion of federal power vis-a-vis not just individuals, but the states. And it will have to percolate in the lower courts. But it did basically slap down the 11th Circuit that found more broadly for immunity for the United States government.
Devin, what happens next in this case?
Well, this case is going to now go forward, and this family's claims, which have been pending since 2017 when this happened, Diane, they're seeking several $1,000s in property damage, also the emotional damage. They had a 7-year-old son in the time when the FBI barged in the middle of the night. They want some compensation for that. He told me that he has been traumatized his entire life because of what he went through that year. This case will go back to the appeals court, as Kim said. The appeals court will have to decide how the government can defend itself. The government says in these types of cases that officers make split-second decisions and they still have immunity under what's called a discretionary function. But Justice Neil Gorsuch today, Diane, didn't mince any words. He said this officer used his personal GPS to show up at the wrong house, didn't bother to look at the address numbers on the mailbox, hurt this family, and now they can seek some damages. And as Kim said, that's a win for a lot of victims around the country of police misconduct, Diane.
All right, Devin Dwyer, Kim Wehle, thank you both.